are the contact force and the what? We have the contact force and the what? The non-contact force. The contact force has to do with the force of push and what? And pull. The push and pull. You understand? Now examples of those ones are what? The magnets. No, I didn't tell you that. We have the tug of war. That game, tug of war. I hope you know what tug of war is. Whereby a group of people stay at the end, at each end of the rope. You understand? Then there will be a line at their middle. Do you understand me?
Yes.
So they keep on pulling to see which group falls to a particular part of the line. Do you understand? So that is contact force. Then another example of contact force is your catapult and the sling. When you have a catapult, the sling is that elastic rubber that you pull when you have your objects in between. So that sling is the elastic rubber. So as you pull it, that is the what? The force of pull. Okay? Okay?
Yes.
So now that is that for contact force. Then the non-contact force has to do with a non-physical kind of force. So that non-physical kind of force is called force field. You understand? Force field. You can't physically explain what's going on. Like you can't see it. You can't see it in action, or you can't see the objects coming in contact. You can't see the objects coming in contact, but it actually there's a force between them. Do you understand? There's a force between what? Between them. Do you understand me?
Yes.
So that kind of force is called the force field, and they can be related, or they give examples. The examples are the what? The electric force, the electric force field, the electrical force field, sorry, the gravitational force field, and the magnetism. There's one they call magnetism. Do you understand? Magnetism, electrical force field, and what? Gravitational force field. The electrical force field, I explained it yesterday. It has to do with what? The charges. Do you understand? The electrical force field has to do with what? Charges. Your charges on each object, how they relate with one another. So I gave example of your cover of biro. I know you've tried it before. I don't know whether you've tried it before. There's a charge on that your biro cover. There's a charge. Even though you don't use biro cover, you can use a comb. There's a charge on it on its own. Do you understand? So when you use it on your dry hair and you put it on a piece of paper, what happens? Sabirat, what happens? Aliyah, what happens? Aliyah. Aliyah. Okay, Aliyah is not here. Sabirat.
Sir?
What happens when you use a comb on your dry hair, then you put it towards a piece of paper? What happens to it? What happens to that paper and the comb? Eh?
I don't know.
You don't know? Sabirat, you don't know?
Yes.
The paper gets attracted to the what? The paper gets attracted to the comb. Because of the charges between them. Because of the charge that is on the paper, and because of the charge that's on the air, and because of the charge that is on the comb. Do you understand? Eh? That's an example. And that example or that kind of instance is due to what we call static electricity. What did I say? What did I say? Talk now. Static what? Electricity. Static electricity. You understand? It's the kind of electricity that do not what? Allow the flow of electric current. It does not allow the flow of electric current away from the body. You understand? Do you understand me? Static
Yes.
electricity, from the word static, does not allow the flow of what? Electric charges. Don't let me say current, electric charges. All right. So now, that is that on electrical force field. Now, this is gravitational force field. They said the earth attracts all objects to itself. The earth attracts all objects to itself. What does that mean? That is, everything that goes up must what? Must come down. Do you understand, Soviet?
Yes.
What that means is that everything that goes up must what? Must come down. So that's how it attracts. It attracts. And once it's coming down with a force. It's coming down with a what? A force.
Force.
Now, they said the force with which the earth attracts all objects is called force of gravity. Now, that force is called what? The force of gravity. You know, when you throw, I don't know when whether you've done it before, when you throw a stone up, do you understand? When you throw a stone up, when you throw it up, you see that the force at which the stone goes up is different from the one at which it chooses to come down. I don't know whether you've experienced it. Huh?
Sir?
Have you experienced it before? When you throw a stone up, the force at which the stone uses to go up is different from that at which it chooses to come down. Do you understand? When you throw a particular stone up, when you throw it up, you see that once it's coming down, when you throw it up, it becomes slower at a point. You understand? When you throw it up, it becomes slower, or it becomes slow at a point. But once it's coming down, it comes down with full speed. So now that speed is due to the what? The attraction of the earth, the force of what? Gravity. Do you understand me?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, they said the gravitational force or the force of gravity. They now said it is for this reason that objects above the earth fall down to the earth. So now, light objects like feathers, kites, children balloons, which do not fall immediately, are supported by what? Air. Now, all these your kites, balloons, and feathers, it's not as if they don't fall. They fall, but not immediately. And the reason why they don't fall immediately is because of what? External agents like what? Like wind. Do you understand? The external agents like what? Like wind actually affects the fall of what? Of light objects. Do you understand me?
Yes. Yes, sir.
There's an experiment that if you are with a stone and you are with what? A feather or any other light object, but let's use feather as an example. When you are with a stone and a feather in a room that you have little air, like in this kind of room now, there's little air, the windows are shut and everything. You have little air. You drop those objects at the same time, drop the stone and the feather at the same time. Both of them will get to the ground the same time. Do you know that?
Yes, sir.
When you throw both of them at the same time to the ground where there is no air, you understand? You throw them at the same time, they will both get to the ground the same time. Whereas the stone is heavier than the feather, isn't it?
Yes.
So why is it that they are both getting to the ground at the same time? Why doesn't Or why is it that the stone why didn't the stone get to the ground before the feather as at that time? It's because of the absence of what? Of air, the absence of what? Of wind. Do you understand me? Yes. Okay. Now they eventually fall to the ground. They eventually fall to the ground. When there is when there is no air at all, it falls to the ground straight. You understand? But in the presence of air, it takes time before it reaches the what? Ground. But eventually it gets to the ground. Okay? So now let's move on. Let's move on. Have you written this?
Yes.
Ali,
Yes,
have you
sir.
written this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please, I want you guys to be responding. That's the only way I know you understand what I'm saying. Do you get me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So now I want to rub up the board. Where's the duster? So now the measurement of what? Measurement of weight. Measurement of what? Of weight. Are you done? And
Follow the same format. You are not dumb. Follow the same format.
Yeah, that's not the first because no first time. And you know when you know
Are you done writing?
no.
Aliyah, are you done writing?
No, sir.
Be fast, please.
Hello. Yeah. Run. The change of kidney elevation.
Won't spend there. Ah.
Are you done? Are you guys done?
Yes.
Okay. Now they said the measurements of weight. The measurement of weight. The weight of a body is defined as the force of gravity of that body. Do you understand this? The weight of a body is defined as the force of gravity of that body. So for you to actually know the weight of a body, that means what this is saying is that it has to be suspended. It has to be what? It has to be suspended in the air. Do you understand? Now they said of that body, force could be used to make a spring longer. Experiment shows that a particular force or experiment shows that force can be used to what? To make a spring longer. So now if we hang a spring vertically, when you hang a spring vertically, and a weight is being hung from it, like a weight is being hung from it. What are they? Look at, let's say this is the spring. This is what I'm talking about. Let's say this is the spring. Let's assume this is the spring. And this is the ground. Let's say the ground is here. You understand? So now, and they said a weight is being hung from it. Let's say this is the body. You know this body we have weight. I mean, you guys look here. This body we have weight, wouldn't it?
Yes.
It will have its own weight. So now for you to know the weight, you understand? From it will produce what? Extensions proportional to the force of gravity on the bodies. So now this weight, the extension of this spring, the weight from this spring to the body, you understand? The extension it provides between them it provides between this spring. You know, the more this body has weight, the more this spring will extend. Do you know that?
Yes.
If the weight of this body is large, the spring will extend. You understand? If the weight is not that much, you know, the spring will what? It will contract, like it won't really slack much. Do you understand? So the now said on the body, therefore, a spring balance. So now a spring balance is used for the measurement of weight. So what's that? If I should ask you, what's the instrument you use for the measurement of weight? What will you tell me the answer is? If I should ask you, what's the instrument used for the measurement of weight?
Spring balance.
The spring balance. The spring balance. So they now said the weight of a body is expressed in Newton. The weight of a body is expressed in Newton. Do you understand me? Do you understand? So now, and Newton has to do with what? With force and what? And mass. The Newton has to do with what? Force and what? And mass. And mass of a body is still the same thing as what? Weight of a body. Do you understand me? Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's do some calculation. Calculation on what? On work done against gravity. Calculation of work done against gravity. Do you understand that word? Against gravity. I want to rub off the board, should I?
Yes.
Okay.
Should I call you back so that I can you?
Calculation of work done against gravity.
Matthew. I'm a
So now look up. I didn't want to disappear. Sophia, can you hear me?
yes.
Okay. So now, they said if you lift an object from the surface of the ground, you do not work in opposing gravity. Like, oh sorry, you do work in opposing gravity. That is, you are working against gravity. So now, suppose you lift an object of mass 1 kg from the ground to a height of what? Of 1 meter. So the object is what? The object has what? Mass of what? 1 kg. That's what it means. If you understand. You now lift it from the ground. Let's say this is the ground. You now lift it 1 meter. Let's say this is 1 meter. 1 meter. This is the object, 1 kg. Then from here to the ground, this is 1 meter. From the ground to the object is 1 meter. Do you understand? Some viewers, do you understand? Do you understand this diagram I drew? Alright, moving on. Then I said to a height of 1 meter, the work done in lifting the object is calculated by using the formula mgh, where the mass of an object, where m is the mass of an object in kg, then the gravity, g is the what? The force of gravity, then h is the height of object moved in what? In meters. Do you understand it, Sobirat?
Yes.
Okay. So now I want to rub off the board. Huh?
Yes.
Should I rub off the board?
Yes.
Where are you? Okay. So now, in the above example, MGH simply means 1 multiply. Now that one, this MGH, you know the mass of the object is what? Is 1 kilogram, Abi. So that is it here. This M is this 1 kilogram. This G, is the force of what? Is the force of gravity. So now, the force of gravity here is 9.8. Is 9.8. Or you say 10. Sometimes it could be 10, sometimes it could be what? 9.8. Do you understand? So now that is 9.8 multiplied by what? By the height, which is 1 meter. Do you understand? multiplied by the height, which is what? 1 meter. So now everything will be what? Newton per second. Newton per second. Or just you write per SEC. Newton per seconds. Do you understand me? So now when you multiply all this together, you get what? 9.8 joules. So that is the work done. 9.8 joules. So now joules is the units for what? For work. For work done. Do you understand? Do you understand me? Huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So now we are done with what? We are done with the force field, with gravitational force field. So now let's quickly move to friction. Oh wait, before we move to friction, let me give you classwork. Okay? So let me give you some questions. Our time is almost up, so we have to be fast. I want to rub this off.
Yes. Yes.
So now, can you see the board?
Yes.
Okay, please be fast. The time is almost up. So now the first one, define force. The second one, which of the following is not a type of force? Magnetic, electrical, contact, gravitational, reversible. Then The third one, what is static electricity and how is it produced? I told you now. And the next one, name two contact and non-contact forces. Name two contact and non-contact forces. We've done all these things. Oh yeah.
So
no, it's not.
Trying to do it. This question will be sent to your Google Classroom. So you are going to submit on your Google Classroom.
Do you understand? You submit it on your Google Classroom. Do you understand me?
You see the question there very soon.
Submit that. Have you finished writing?
Yes.
So check your Google Classroom very soon for the work. Then you submit it there.